With Motorola failing to generate significant consumer interest of late, the Razer V is positioned a little awkwardly. It's a successor to the original Razer, Motorola's premier line of smartphones, but has lived a short life at the top, being swiftly bumped down a few rungs by two new Razer phones stealing the limelight. So where does this leave the Razer V? Let's take a look. It is obvious that Motorola spent little time redesigning this year's rendition, being distinctively similar in look, from the angular sides and corners to the sloping back panel of the original Razer. It is more refined, however, with a slightly smaller build. This translates to an easier hold in hand. It is put together very firmly and feels seductively thin and strong thanks to the DuPont Kevlar backplate, but the rest of the casing reflects its less imposing price tag. I'm also not won over with the new take on the backplate extending the Kevlar over the slope. It looks like a cheap home renovation where you merely cover up an uneven floor with carpet. While the design isn't particularly striking, it is distinctive and aids definition of the Razer branding. Inputs have been moved to the thicker top end of the phone, giving seamless edges to hold down below, but it does look a little top heavy then. A full-size SIM card and micro SD card slot are hidden quietly behind a tedious to open flap built into the side of the phone, and a sneaky notification light is tucked up near the front-facing camera. The phone also boasts being splash resistant, giving it an extra unique quality. A lot of the Razer V's internals are carried over from its original. Rocking a dual-core 1.2 GHz processor and 1GB of RAM, it isn't breaking new ground. Benchmark tests certainly reflect this, falling in the range of the likes of the Galaxy S2 and nowhere near its main competition at this point. The defining change is how they have implemented Android Ice Cream Sandwich, and the user experience is fairly fluid. Load times and navigation are generally seamless. Swiping through home screens and app menus aren't as smooth sometimes as other top-tier Android smartphones, and occasionally a screen will stall for a few moments. The Razer V's short reign was an obvious one, the latest Razer HD and Razer M both offering the latest LTE data speeds. In terms of 3G performance, it had generally good data speeds, I found, with only slightly lower connection than the likes of the iPhone 5 on the same carrier. The battery is on par with competition, and while there are significant customizations to aid sparing the battery life, I didn't need them, as the Razer V easily got me through a full day. The 4.3-inch display offers up an extremely vibrant, rich image with clear text and accurate whites. Its contrast seems a little lower than other phones, and while standing alone you can be satisfied with the production of images. Next to top-tier devices like the HTC One XL or Galaxy S3, it is easily trounced. Resolution is lower with visible pixels on close inspection, but the accuracy of touch is unsurpassed. While the bottom of the phone leaves a significant bezel, there are no physical capacitive touch buttons, forcing the viewable screen size to be reduced to house on-screen navigation. This for me defeats the purpose of offering larger form factors, as screen size real estate is now a sought-after commodity. Being a set piece in Google's monopoly, some would expect a pure Android experience. This isn't entirely the case, and something that makes sense, as this would change how Google likes to use a different vendor for each iteration of its Nexus line of devices. The Razer V ships with a more or less stock Android Ice Cream Sandwich build. There is very little that is altered, which is great for Android purists and aids to keep a consistent performance. What it doesn't do is stand it apart from what else is on offer, and when build and components aren't the draw points, software really needs to give a company a certain edge. I know a lot of people don't like skins and adaptations of Android, and Moto Blur is a great example of skins just not working, but some of them really help to create a fantastic, unique experience or look. The first alteration is seen on the lock screen. Motorola supplies a 4-way configuration to quick launch the phone, camera, and messaging apps, or swipe in to unlock. Unfortunately, these apps cannot be customized to ones you may rather. They took some leniencies with the app icons, but their choices are by no way the worst out of some of the other companies. Motorola opted to make the default music player TuneWiki Pro, which is a fantastic feature-packed music application, and typical Google apps and some bloatware is still present but not onerous. The headlining component of the software has to go to the Smart Actions application. It begins to realize a dream of mine to run multiple personas individually identified and set up on the one device simultaneously. Smart Actions isn't quite that fancy yet, but does allow me to set up, for example, a work rule that will activate when the GPS detects that I have arrived at the assigned location, and then switch off my Wi-Fi, turn the phone to silent, apply a custom wallpaper, and much more. It gives an excellent array of options and ways to set up different rules to match different scenarios. It is an extremely robust native application and a testament to Motorola attempting to show it does have some pure inception. Where Motorola did get a little handsy was with the camera application, changing up its user interface and feature set. It unfortunately loses some functionality, but performance of the optics was generally very good. Watching videos isn't particularly beautiful due to the screen resolution, but the size of the picture makes it worth your time. However, the audio quality is a little tinny sometimes and comes preset to some audio adjustments that do nothing to enhance its quality. It is nice and loud though. The browser functions lovely, but I found myself using Google Chrome out of personal preference and that it runs slightly faster than the stock Android browser. Gaming itself runs excellently, even on the somewhat older components found in the Razer V. And like all Android devices, if you want it, you will find it in the Play Store. I won't beat around the bush. The Razer V was Motorola's flagship handset, only to be superseded quickly by two new handsets that offer the latest LTE data capabilities. They needed to do this to keep in line with competitors, but it puts the Razer V in a difficult position to recommend. Is it Motorola's best product to date? Obviously not. So where does it hold its value? Well, it isn't exorbitantly priced, even though it has all the makings of a high-end phone, and for those components within it, they run the phone fairly well. The price is dropping fast, and as a 3G smartphone with plenty to offer the right person, I'm sure this is a good buy. Personally, I would spend a little bit more and own either the Razer M or the Razer HD, but if they fall a little out of your budget, buying the Razer V outright will leave you with a high-end phone at a budget price. This has been Kurt from KABOOtech. Catch you next time.